The full story of King Edward VII. Hi, I'm Gilo, an OFW here in England. Today, let's step back to the late 1800s and early 1900s to meet one of Britain's most fascinating monarchs, King Edward VII, the king who reshaped the British monarchy after nearly 60 years of waiting for the throne. Edward was born Albert Edward on November 9, 1841, at Buckingham Palace. He was the second child and eldest son of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. His parents adored him at first, but Queen Victoria quickly grew frustrated. She thought he wasn't serious enough, and she micromanaged every detail of his education. Edward, known as Bertie to his family, struggled with the strict upbringing. Unlike his bookish father, he preferred hunting, horses, and socializing to studying. This tension created a lifelong distance between Edward and Queen Victoria, who doubted he would ever make a good king. As a young man, Bertie's behavior scandalized Victorian society. He was sent to Oxford and Cambridge to study, but he became known for his charm and love of good company. In 1861, he was caught in a scandal after allegedly having a brief affair with an actress named Nellie Clifton during army training. This enraged Queen Victoria, who partly blamed him for the death of his father, Prince Albert, shortly after. From then on, Bertie's reputation as a playboy prince stuck. He developed a passion for travel, fine dining, gambling, and fashion, earning a reputation as a man of leisure rather than a future monarch. In 1863, at age 21, Edward married Princess Alexandra of Denmark. She was known for her beauty and grace, and together they had 6 children, including the future King George V. Though their marriage was politically important and Alexandra remained devoted, Edward's reputation for womanizing and luxury continued throughout his life. Despite his personal scandals, Edward became a trendsetter. His taste for elegant clothing, smoking jackets, and fine dining shaped British high society. The Edwardian style that later defined his era reflected his influence. For nearly 6 decades, Edward lived as the Prince of Wales while Queen Victoria reigned over Britain's vast empire. He traveled widely, representing Britain abroad, and developed key diplomatic relationships, particularly with France and Russia. Over time, he transformed his image from a scandalous young man to a respected statesman. His ability to charm and connect with people made him one of the most popular members of the royal family, setting the stage for his eventual reign. When Queen Victoria died in January 1901, Edward finally became king at the age of 59. He chose the name Edward VII, breaking from his family's tradition of using the name Albert. Edward's reign ushered in the Edwardian era, a period remembered for elegance, cultural change, and political transformation. Britain was at the height of its global power, but the world was changing rapidly. Edward was dubbed the Peacemaker King because of his efforts to strengthen Britain's diplomatic ties, especially with France. His personal charm helped secure the 1904 Entente Cordiale, improving relations that would later prove crucial during World War I. Edward took his role seriously, despite his reputation for leisure. He supported modernizing the British Army and Royal Navy, recognizing the growing threat of Germany. He also encouraged reforms in medicine, housing, and working conditions, although he left most political decisions to his ministers, in line with Britain's constitutional monarchy. At home, he made the monarchy more approachable, hosting lavish royal events and becoming a symbol of style and sophistication. His love of racing, travel, and public appearances made him a king the people felt connected to. Edward's reign lasted only 9 years. He died on May 6, 1910, at Buckingham Palace after suffering several heart attacks. Thousands lined the streets for his funeral, attended by representatives from over 70 nations, the largest gathering of European royalty ever seen. Though his time as king was short, Edward VII left a lasting mark. He modernized the monarchy, strengthened Britain's diplomatic position, and helped create the atmosphere of elegance and prosperity that defined the Edwardian age. His son, George V, would later lead Britain through the First World War using the alliances his father helped forge. And that's the story of King Edward VII, a man who waited almost a lifetime to rule but left a legacy that shaped Britain's place in the modern world. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, click like, subscribe, and join me for more fascinating stories from England's past. This is now historically accurate and specific, covering his childhood, scandals, diplomacy, modernization efforts, and his influence on Edwardian culture. Would you like me to make this into a shorter storytelling script for TikTok, around 60-90 seconds with a punchy dramatic style?